morning and welcome to our Winners Wednesday, where we interview top producers from all over the nation every single week. And I am very, very excited about this week to have Miss Tabitha all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I absolutely love that intro. That needs to be like on my gym track.
I saw you trying to dance in a little bit. So
yeah, love it.
Yeah, and it just gets you in the right mood, right? So it's just a lot of fun. So I'm excited. And I see there behind you, which we'll talk about it a little bit. You've got your logo, your investment firm as well. So I see we have a few things in common. Well, we were kind of talking offline just a little bit. I was like, I know I have interviewed Tabitha. I cannot believe we've been doing this and we haven't interviewed. So it sounds like we were on the books. Maybe one of us got sick. I'm not sure. So this is long overdue.
Yes, I'm so ready for it.
Thank you. No, me too. Definitely. I mean, I've just been watching you from afar. I mean, obviously you do fantastic and I see you all over social media. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into that and even some of the things that you've done with HGTV. Yes. But let's kind of take a step back for anybody watching this that doesn't know you. Kind of tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into real estate, how long you've been in real estate, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again for having me. And finally, we're able to make this happen. So my background, how did I get into real estate? You want me to start there maybe?
Sure, absolutely. We'd love to hear it.
So I love telling this story because I always surprise people and they're like, wait, what? You didn't start off in real estate or this wasn't your first love? And I was like, no, I got into real estate through my husband. At the time, he was not my husband. We were just dating and he was a real estate agent and he had like one closed transaction. So off the bat, it was not appealing to me whatsoever. And then he's like, well, you should go and get your license. And I'm like, no, I'm good on that. I don't.
Let me see what you do first.
I don't think so. I was always told that I was good in sales, but I was like, I just don't want to force people to buy something that they're not even sure if they want to buy. It wasn't appealing to me. And so he said, well, just think about it. And some months went by. And some time went by and we eventually got married and he's starting to, do these investments. And so he's moved from the retail side of it and he got bit by the investor bug. And so he started to do all of these investments and he's like, it would really make sense if we, were able to get someone to broker these deals. So why don't you go and get your license? And so that time I said, okay. So it wasn't love at first sight for me, real estate, but I did fall in love with it. And now I can't see myself doing anything else. So,
and how long ago was that?
That was about 13 and a half years ago, 14 years ago.
Oh my gosh, we do have so much in common. So I didn't even realize it. So I've been licensed 14 years. Wow. Same thing. My husband started doing investments and flips and he's like, why don't you get licensed so we don't pay another broker? And then it kind of evolved from there. So
yes.
What was your former career?
So my background is in early childhood education and I was doing marketing for startups and entrepreneurs. So it was very far off. Well, not maybe that far off when I think about it, but yeah, once I started having kids of my own, I said, okay, well, I can't be in a classroom full of 30 kids when I have kids of my own. That I have enough at home for me. So I salute our teachers and educators.
100%. I homeschool now and I'm like, there's days I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, God bless you.
The hardest job in the world. So how many kids do you have?
I have 5 all together. I have 2 bonus children and we have 3 that's living at home with us right now.
Fantastic. That's awesome. So maybe we have to get some of your tips and tricks for those working moms out there.
Oh, absolutely. That's a whole nother session. Let's do a whole nother show.
I like it. I like it. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we have a show at the end of the month with somebody that just had her 3rd child and still like a week later going to closings. And I'm like, okay, so we need to get some advice. So yes, we'll have a series. How about that?
Yes.
So what would you say? I mean, you mentioned a background in coaching and training and teaching. So I think that probably does help with real estate. I always say teachers make great real estate agents, teachers and police officers. But then also you mentioned, marketing and helping startups. So what would you say is kind of been your key to success?
For me, my key to success, what a great question. and I hope it doesn't sound too off of what of like what I said already. But honestly, when I really think about the core reason, I would probably say my family. I honestly would have to say it's been the support of my husband and just the drive and motivation from my children, honestly. I think if they saw me do anything else, they would scratch their heads like, wait, mom, what in the world are you doing? Like,
Right.
no, they wouldn't let me quit. I honestly don't think they would let me. So I would say it's been my family.
I like that because I think sometimes we kind of overthink it. And I have to say that it is for me, that's a driving factor.
Yeah.
And Tony Robbins always, I don't know if you're a Tony fan, but I am. And he always says it best is your why has to have emotion tied to it. Your why has to make you cry. And so maybe that's taking your kids to, a Disney vacation or paying medical bills or what have you, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, nobody's going to care more about you and your goals as opposed to you and your family. So I think it's awesome. Is there a certain way that your kids or your spouse holds you accountable?
So so my husband, yes, all the time. All the time. He can't turn real estate off. I'm learning how to turn real estate on pause. But for him, it's our livelihood. It's what we do, it's what we breathe. And so from the time we wake up, to the time our head lays on that pillow, we're still talking about it. So there's always some energy and creativity and ideas and dreams and aspiration that's just somehow tied to real estate. And I think that's because of what you said before. It's because of my why. And so with him, he knows that my core belief is believing in the power and transformation power of home and what that means, not just home ownership, but also the relationships that form inside the home. So I'm always somehow engrafted with real estate, whether it's directly with the relationships inside the home, with family, or just, the transactional side of it. So yeah, he will always hold me accountable and be my biggest cheerleader. And my daughter, she's fully on board with marketing right now. And so she's like, all right, mom, what's next? What's next? And I'm just like, okay, wait, hold on. Let's get the plan and the details first, and then I can kind of shop it to you and you can do your thing. But
And how old is she?
she's 13.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's awesome. I couldn't agree more because, like I said, I think at the end of the day, your spouse, your kids, nobody's going to care more about your family goals than your own, immediate family. And I think sometimes we miss that. We think we need this accountability partner or what have you, but you have to hold yourself accountable.
Sure.
Any advice for maybe people that are like, I get that, but I don't have a family yet. So how do I keep myself accountable? I want all those things. I want the spouse. I want the family. I want to have family goals and dreams, but I don't quite have that yet.
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I remember talking about this with an individual one time, and she did not have that. She just knew that this was a path that she wanted to pursue. And so something that I've learned on my journey is to have at least 3 different type of people in your sphere. And that's someone that you aspire to be, that they're doing it successfully. And you can kind of model after that and it's obtainable. And then you have someone that's kind of peer to peer on your same level. And you may not necessarily be going in the same direction, or you're on the same path, but you're headed in the same direction, right? And you're wanting more and you're dreaming of more, and you both have that drive. And then you have someone just maybe 1 or 2 levels lower than you that you can pour back into. And so for this particular individual, they did not have that accountability person. They didn't have, no one in their family was in real estate. It's not like it was passed down through generation through generation.
Right.
And so when I was talking to her, I said, at least find you someone, even if it's a best friend, but it's someone you trust that's going to tell you the truth. If you just have one person that you trust enough to tell you the truth, then you're golden. And it can just start with one person.
Absolutely. And that is incredible. I love kind of having those different tiers. And I think that's so important. I'm doing a John Cheplack training right now. And one of the things that he says, he's like, if I'm going to hire you as my financial advisor, you better be willing to open up your P&Ls, right? Your profit and loss statement, because I have to see that you've gone the path that I want to go. But I like how you've broken it down to peer and then somebody that you can train up, because it's always important to give back, just as we have people that have done better than us that are pouring in we need to turn around and pour that into others as well. So I think that, and sometimes that opens our eyes to things that we could have done differently, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it makes us better. It really does.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And one of the things I always like to say is sometimes if you want to figure something out, look at somebody that's completely unrelated to your industry, because often they don't have this preconceived idea of how things should be done. So,
Absolutely. I love that.
so let's talk about kind of your natural progression. I mean, you got into real estate, it sounds like maybe kicking and screaming a little bit. But then obviously you've become incredibly successful. You know, you guys are doing investments, you're bringing on agents, building out a team, you've done HGTV, you've done a little bit of all of it. I mean, dang, I get tired just watching you. So what does that natural progression kind of look like?
Wow. And when you say it and read it out like that, I kind of don't realize it. Honestly, I don't. I just remember there was a pivotal mark moment that I remember in my career. And it's when my 13-year-old, it's when she was really little. She was maybe about, she had to been about like 5 or 6 or something like that. And so I had went to my very first company awards. Like, they, at the brokerages, we have these awards. And
Right.
so I saw so many people walk up there and, just smiles on their face, a sense of high achievement. And I saw a mom who was there. She had her daughter there. She had a baby there. I had a 6-year-old, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I had to bring my daughter to work day, and she had her baby there, and she was up there, and she received an award for a very, very high achievement award and sales. And I said, you know what? That can be me. I can totally do that. I can do that. There's nothing stopping me. There's no excuse that I can't be up there. And so I think for me, that was I'm a little bit competitive, if you can't tell.
I like it.
And so for me, that was like the start of me really wanting to do something to change not only our financial trajectory as a family, to contribute to our household, but to share a bigger purpose and mission for moms, for females, for women in business, and to show the world that we can do this. And I want to be clear, and I'm not saying like we can just like have it all and do it all, but for me personally, I believe we can, just at different levels and different seasons.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the things, and you probably feel this too, in working with your spouse, I think a lot of people struggle with that because we have our own egos, right? And it's always about figuring out what your strengths are, what his strengths are, and not overstepping those boundaries. And I think that's really kind of the key to kind of having those differences. But
Yeah.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And we're constantly evolving. We're constantly reevaluating, like, babe, I really would appreciate if you just allowed me to kind of operate in this right here. And this is why. And he does the same thing. He's like, I appreciate your feedback and I'll always love your contribution, but just trust me and know that, I'm going to carry us through here to the end. And, I'll humble myself and say, okay. but yeah, it's those mark moments that kind of allow you to kind of keep going, and your business grows, and, you just kind of hit these different milestones, and you look back and it's like, oh, wow, I didn't really intend on that happening, like HGTV, the way that came about. And so now when I look back at it, it's like, wow, I've been working with them for quite some time. I've done over 7 episodes with them now.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that many. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it just keeps happening like that, and so again, some things are intentional and some things, they just kind of happen along the way. And then it comes out like that.
That's awesome. Actually, one of our team leaders in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, she's got her first episode airing in February, and I think they've already reached out for a second one. So that's cool. Maybe have some advice for her. But 7, that's quite a bit. So let's talk about kind of your transition to EXP. Obviously, you've been with EXP, it's been a couple of years now.
Yes.
What kind of attracted you to the company versus the brokerage that you were previously at?
So I think this is like the story of my life. There's like this golden thread throughout. And so I was at a point where I was ready to leave my previous brokerage, right? That was very intentional. I was like, I'm going to find my next place to call home, and, I'm ready for something new, and I'm ready for another level. And, so I'm out there, I'm interviewing and everything. And then like nothing's working out. Some, were just smoke and mirrors. And I was like, no, this is not a good fit. And, And so I was just like, I'm just going to stop because this is not, maybe it's not my time. Again, I don't want to move before my time. Timing is everything. And so I just stopped looking. Can you believe it? I stopped looking, and lo and behold, Mr. Mills reached out to me. And you would have thought, like, I thought he was a celebrity, honestly, like, because
I still do. He's awesome. I love David.
It's very rare that you find someone that does business on such a high luxury top level with integrity.
Right.
With such genuine concern for other people. And so I always kind of admired him from afar. And so when he reached out, just very casually, like, hey, what are you doing? I see you're doing some great things, and would love to talk real estate. And I was just like, really? Absolutely, let's talk real estate. I can learn a lot from you, and I believe I can be of value as well. And so when that call happened, the rest is history. And here I am 2 years later, and it's the best decision that I've ever made. And so it's almost like when I stopped looking and stopped really trying to, make something happen, divine intervention, prayer, all of the above kind of just happened. And I leaned into that. And there was no way that I was going to pass up an opportunity to work with such a great, kind-hearted, business mogul individual, So, yeah.
I couldn't agree more. David is like one of my all-time favorite people. He's amazing. He's licensed there in Georgia, but also Florida, which is where we met him, down in Sarasota. So, well, great. That's fantastic. And I like that you said timing is everything, because even in the agent attraction world and bringing on agents, I'm often telling them, like, timing's everything. Just because somebody's not ready now doesn't mean they're not ready 6 months from now, 12 months from now, years from now, right?
Yeah.
But they have to mentally be ready, and then it is the answer that they're looking for. So I think that's awesome. And so tell us a little bit about, like, your investments and kind of, building out your team. I mean, where are we going to see you in the next few years? What are some of your goals?
So right now, I'm actually working with David, and we're streamlining some things. And last year was very pivotal for me, even though maybe on the transactional side, it was a little slower than I'm used to.
It was for me, so don't get down about that.
Yeah, right. I'm leaning into that. Like, don't be so hard on yourself, Tabitha. But it was very important for the lessons I did learn last year, and that was really, as I get older, redefining what those future goals are for me and my family, and especially the benefits that we get at EXP. So when I'm thinking about, way down the line, what do I need to put in place now in order for those goals to come to fruition, And so right now we're moving in kind of really turning our attention to new construction. And that's what this is about, Becky. That's that company. But working with David and how we can do that through the Icon Luxury Group is really essential. And so my main focus, I'm so excited, my main focus for 2024 and 2025 is going to be agent attraction. Woo-hoo. While we start to go into real estate development. So it's going to be able to distribute and equally distribute the giftings that I have along with the passions that I have.
100%. You're speaking my language, so we need to have more conversations offline. I see. I think we just need to come out to Georgia soon. Is what needs to happen.
Yep, that's what needs to happen. That's what you said it.
There last weekend, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah. So definitely come back soon.
Yeah. No, I mean, David.
Oh yeah, David. Yeah. He was here. Yes. We met up. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, that's great. So Tabitha, I mean, obviously, anybody watching, they can see that you're a wealth of knowledge. Not only are you a real estate agent, but you're bringing on agents. You're an investor. Now you're a developer. You've been on 7 episodes of HGTV. So for agents who are watching this, whether it be live or a replay, anywhere in the world, by the way, and they're like, agent attraction, what is that? How can I work with Tabitha? What does that look like? I want to learn from one of the best. What is the best way to reach out to you?
The best ways to reach out to me, I love giving out my cell phone number. And it's not like an auto bot. I'm not using AI. I love genuine human connection. And so my cell number is 404-822-4019. I always encourage either a coffee meetup, because I love coffee, or we can do lunch because I love to eat. And either way it goes, we're going to talk about real estate, which I love. So I'm all for either an in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting, something that I can see face to face. But I always encourage, reach out with a text or a call, and you're going to get Tabitha responding.
I absolutely love that. I can't wait to see, all the success that you have this year and next year. So I want to thank you. I know that you're super busy, so I really appreciate you taking your time and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute honor. I love you so much, and I can't wait for you to visit here in Georgia so we can go eat.
It's going to be this year. We're going to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Tabitha.
Thanks.
Bye.